and welcome back to this GG Weekend Watch Cheltenham Festival special, where we are on to day 3 to discuss now. We're powering through. We're on to the Thursday of Cheltenham, and I will be discussing these races in the company of Daryl Carter and Andrew Mount once again. Thank you to SBK, of course, for sponsoring all of these podcasts then through the week. So we shall even better get cracking with day 3, and we begin with the 1:30. This is the Turners Novices Chase over 2 miles 3 furlongs and 168 yards. And what a battle we have up front between the top two, Bob Olinger and Galopin de Champs. Will they be the only horses to run there? Will they not? We're not entirely sure. Daryl, what do you make of this race?
Yeah, cracker, absolute cracking race. If just the two of them turn up, it wouldn't bother me. In all honesty, I don't think it'd bother a lot of people. I suppose you've got to pick which camp you're in, haven't you? Are you a Galopin de Champs camp, or you're in a Bob Olinger camp? I like Bob Olinger quite a lot. I think he's a very, very smart horse. He proved in the Ballymore last year. This novice chase has had 2 starts, and he's been under the microscope more than any other horse that I've ever known about his jumping.
Yeah.
Normally people don't take no notice of how horses jump, but this one they want to crab him at every single opportunity. I thought Gorham Park, when he came out, beat Picardi's for 6 lengths. I thought that was a bit of a dodgy jumping display, in all honesty, and I kind of needed to see it again. But that race on its own has worked out extremely well. He's beat a subsequent Grade 1 winner, Master McShee, by 16 lengths. There's loads of winners that have come out of the race. And then he goes and beats Capodanno at Punchestown, and I thought he jumped much better that day. I thought it was pretty effortless. I think one thing you need to know about Bob Olinger is that inside track at Punchestown, which is really sharp, probably wouldn't have suited him very well. He's a very speedy horse, but those sharp bends are just with his high head carriage, I think it looks awkward because of the track. I didn't think his jumping was that bad. There's room for improvement in that sphere for me. I think back on a bit of spring ground next week, looking at the forecast, I think that will definitely suit him. It can also help improve jumping, because some horses are better jumping out of quicker conditions as opposed to getting bogged down in the ground. So I think there's loads more to come from Bob Olinger, and I think he's very, very talented. Galopin de Champs, very much the same. I really like Galopin de Champs, but I just see his future over a lot further, and I don't know if I'll see that with Bob Olinger at the moment. So I think if it comes down to a speed test, I think Bob Olinger will have the sharper turn of foot. It'll just be interesting how things play out in terms tactically. They're even money in 6 to 5 the pair. I remember we was on a podcast actually, and Barber said, "Oh, what if they go this way?" And I said, "Even money the pair." I'm far wrong. I'm just going to watch and enjoy it. But if you want to back one of them, I would back Bob Olinger.
Oh, interesting then. Yeah, that Daryl is siding with Bob in the hope that the speed test will maybe just suit him that little bit better. Andrew, how do you split these two?
Very difficult, isn't it? I mean, we could sit here for an hour and talk about whether the next coin we toss is going to come up heads or tails. And,
we give it a good go.
Yeah, not particularly helpful, really, is it? And I mean, what's more fascinating for me is how these two have both look like they're going to run in this race now, and how everyone else has dropped away. And I think there should be a market on how many horses run in this race. I think that would, if you were a bookmaker, you'd take more money on that than you would on either one of these, I think. And we could end up seeing something like 4 runners, as we had in Footpad's Arkle a few years ago. So yeah, everything that I've bet each way in the hope that runs in here, non-runner, no bet, is now dropped away and is not entered, because we've had the latest declaration stage today. We've gone from something like 44 down to about 16. And I imagine Willie Mullins will find one to think, well, I'll run this one, hunt him round at the back of the field with a view to sort of coming up late to get 3rd place or even 2nd if Bob Olinger tips up.
That'll probably be Jungle Boogie, won't it? Because if you literally go through this, like the Hon Presse is going to the Brown Advisory, Brave Man's Game.
Well, you say that about Lon Presse, but he's shortened up for, since we recorded day 2, he's shortened up for this race again. So it's a real game of sort of bluff and double bluff and bullshit and double bullshit, isn't it, at the moment? But yeah, I mean, yeah, long press if he runs here, I'd have to back him. I mean, again, this is a race where it pays to have chase experience, and the front two in the betting have both only had 2 runs. I know they're potential superstars, but I couldn't. If you can make a solid case why one of them won't win, then obviously you can back the other, but I don't think you can. So to sort of say I'm in this camp or that camp, I think it's a bit bonkers, really. You might as well.
Yeah, I meant that from like a fan perspective, though. I think each horse has got their own set of fans, haven't they? And some are saying Bob won't get beat, or Galopin de Champs is the new machine, or whatever. They do divide opinion, regardless of outside of the betting terms. But
if your name's Bob, back that one. If your name's Des, back that one.
If your name's Des, I'll say, how's he going to do this one? Yeah, or if you're a champ, then you side with that one. Hence why I am with Galopin. Yeah, interesting to see where Jungle Boogie ends up, because he's in the Arkle, he's in the not quite 4 miler, and the Turners, who just haven't bothered with the Brown advisory, but with the other 3 there.
He's not qualified for the National Hunt Chase, though.
No, he isn't, is he? So why is he still in the betting?
No idea.
Good point. Yes, wonderful Mullins again there. Even entering horses in races where they're not actually qualified for it. Good point, well made, Daryl. Yes, I am in the Galopin camp then, not for being called Des, but I can't wait for this. As you say, it's so tight between the pair of them. But with Bob Olinger, I was one of these people where I wasn't that harsh on his chasing debut, because that race, Henry de Bromhead loves targeting it at Goran, because the Plutard and Manella Indo were both overturned in that race. But Bob Olinger could manage to get the job done, and his jumping was an awful lot better at Punchestown. So I expect that level of improvement to keep coming, provided that he's not as fresh as he was for that chase debut then here, because I think that's basically what was the crux of his issues then. So Galopin des Champs, I think that the quicker pace will just suit him so much better, because he last time out at Leopardstown, I just thought if he had a stronger pace to aim at, his scope would have been seen to a much better effect again, because he was just grabbing at a few of his fences there. And I think that if he's just allowed to stride on that bit better, you'll see an even better performance from him. So Galopin for me. We'll move on to the 210, greatest race of all, the Pertemps final. This grade 3 handicap hurdle winter fog for Emmett Mullins is currently heading the market, but an absolute minefield then. Daryl, I feel like I should start with you with one horse in particular.
Yeah, this is I think this is probably my bet of the week. I think it has been for quite some time, and that's Sire de Berlais to win a 3rd Pertemps. They're going to stick Rob James on, by all accounts, to claim £7 off him, which effectively means he's running off a mark of 149. Now, this race for me is nowhere near the quality it was, or there's no storyteller as there was 2 years ago, a well-handicapped horse from the same stable or from another stable, in my opinion, in this race. He's effectively running off a mark of 149. That's £11 lower than when he was starting out the season, which is obviously a mark of 160. £4 higher than his win in 2019, £2 lower than his win in 2020. And he was beaten 3 lengths in the Stayers Hurdle by Flooring Porter last year, who's the favourite again for the race this time around. He's had 3 runs this season. The qualifying run at Warwick last time, when behind Sporting John. Ignore that. That was just the same race they used to qualify him a couple of years ago. He's not there to be, to run a strong race. The time before at Leopardstown in a Grade 1, I'd ignore that. He never really has ever run a good race at Leopardstown. That was part of a case I made for him the last time he won this race, actually. And at Navan was his seasonal reappearance, being 6 lengths by Durasso. He absolutely loves Cheltenham. He comes alive in the spring. He is literally the graded horse in the handicap. I don't get the case for a lot of these. I can't see how a lot of these are well ahead of their mark. The only other one I'm interested down the field in is Born Patriot for Peter Fahey. This horse really caught the eye at Cheltenham back in October, and he's been kept quite quiet. He ran at Sandown behind Greenbook, but that track just didn't really suit him. He's off a very fair mark of 135. I'd probably have a couple of quid on him each way, but I'll back Sire de Berlais at bigger prices. I think I can't see this horse out of the you're going to get 5 places out of the 5. I just can't.
Yeah.
God, I don't want to say good thing. I don't, but I think but I think he's going that way for me. You know, I think he's a cracking bet.
Like you say, the places on offer, what really is going to finish in front of him to push him out of the frame? It's very hard to envisage that for Sire Berlais. Daryl, to be fair, has been keen on Sire Berlais for probably months now. I was going to say weeks, probably going into months territory.
Feels like years, to be honest.
Hence why I wanted to allow him to lead off. Apologies then, Andrew. So, Andrew, your thoughts on the Pertemps?
No, he makes a great case, and you have to agree that he's got an obvious chance. I mean, look at his record at the Cheltenham Festival. 2 wins in this race and a narrow second in the Stayers Hurdle last year. How the handicapper dropped him, £3 for that take the piss, not off a yard run at Warwick last time, I'll never know. I mean, he's got an extra pound here, but it still looks generous. I mean, when I first looked at this race, I thought, we'll just do the usual trick of going to the Leopardstown qualifier over Christmas and backing anything that ran in that. The more I look at their race, the more I think, was it actually that good? And they did go pretty hard and set it up for the closers, and a lot of horses have come out. I know it's you shouldn't say the form hasn't worked out, because maybe they were all running with this race in mind. But a lot of horses have come out of that and were short prices next time for valuable races at the DRF, for example, and a run like Hairy Dog. So my current thinking is maybe we don't want to be going down the Leopardstown qualifier route. I mean, Sire Berlais on the short list. There's a couple of Brits that I thought could go well. Mill Green for Nicky Henderson if he runs here instead of the Martin Pipe. He ran a good race in the Martin Pipe last year, finishing 7th behind Galopin des Champs. And since then he went over fences. He actually went over 2 miles, first time over the larger obstacles. Then he fell back over hurdles, and they managed to unseat at Huntingdon. But last time, up to 3 miles over hurdles at Haydock, ran a good second. Staying on well at the finish. So if he comes here instead of the Martin Pipe, I thought he could be an each-way angle. And Brawson as well for Martin Keithley, who is yet to have a Cheltenham Festival winner. After the he has had plenty in the frame, and Brawson's only been out of the first 3 once since switched to rules racing, and that was when he was beaten 4 1/4 lengths in a big field at the November meeting here, finishing 7th. And he's got other entries as well, including like the Albert Bartlett, the Ballymore. But I thought if Brawson comes here and is given a patient ride, then he is another one who could come through and pick up the pieces. Get in the first half dozen, which is all you're going to need, with the each-way terms that are likely to be on offer on the day. Okay. I'll go Brawson, Mill Green, Sire Berlais in my trio. I don't want to tip Sire Berlais and steal Daryl's thunder.
Steal away. I have done anyway, so I will be continuing to do so. You made such a convincing, compelling case.
Sorry, just one more as well. Third Wind.
Yes.
Huey Morrison, who did best of the Brits, went 4th to Sire Berlais 2 years ago. Now, he was rated, where's he gone? Excuse me. He was rated 141 that day. He runs up exactly the same mark. So, if you are looking to play the forecast, Sire Berlais to beat Third Wind wouldn't be the craziest bet.
No, that wouldn't be. I was on him that day as well. And the way the passage he got around wider then and staying on just sort of late in the day, as we know he does. And I sort of saw him when he ran a blinder. But yeah, for the same mark, Third Wind does look very interesting. But Brawson as well then, as well as Mill Green for Andrew. Brawson was a horse that has been mentioned actually earlier on in the season by Dan Barberin himself from the high climbs then of Catterick and Southwell. To come back and win at the Cheltenham Festival really would be quite something. Next race is the 250. This is the Ryanair Chase Grade 1 then over 2 mile 4 furlongs, 127 yards. ALLAHO, understandably so, very short price then to retain his crown after his absolute demolition job in this race last year. He just bloodied his rivals basically in a boxing ring as much as anything else. So Andrew, can anything get near ALLAHO this time around?
Probably not, although it's interesting to see Conflated taking him on now, coming back in trip. His connections seem very happy that ALLAHO is going to give them a lead into the race. They got a lead into the race when winning the Irish Gold Cup last time. He does seem a much better horse since he's been switched to more prominent tactics. Always seemed happier coming late off a strong pace in a big field. But yeah, Conflated's on the up. I mean, you won the Irish Gold Cup last time out, and you're running here and you're 8-1. It's kind of thrown a spanner into the works of my thinking for this race, because I was going down the ALLAHO Fakir Luderi straight forecast, which obviously copped last year. Fakir Duderi chasing home the winner at a very respectful distance. And but yeah, I'm sort of a bit thrown now by the fact that Conflated's been diverted. Chamblou, I mean, how he's ended up on the deck last time out, I don't know. It's probably because Harry Skelton's not a very good jockey. That's me talking from my wallet. I haven't tipped him up in a big price. But I think ALLAHO makes all, and maybe Conflated has a go at him and finishes second by 4.5 lengths, with Fakir Duderi's back in third. It's an Irish 1-2-3 for me.
I don't think he goes now, Fakir Duderi, does he?
Does he not?
He's come out today, hasn't he?
Oh,
yeah, pretty sure he's come out today, unfortunately.
Well, ALLAHO beats Conflated.
There you go. That's
29 lengths back in third.
Yeah, I think Fakir Duderi was going to miss this and cite Aintree, because I was also very frustrated because he was my forecast as well. So I'll weigh in then with your forecast, Andrew. Daryl, the Ryanair.
Yeah, I quite like one in there. It's not ALLAHO. I'm terrified of ALLAHO, of course, and so everybody should be. But I quite like the each way chance of Janidil.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. He won at Fairyhouse, beating Franco de Port in the Exchange Gold Cup Novice Chase. Asterion Florence Conflated. He was really, really good that day. And then he went to Punchestown, was swept aside by Energumen. Came out on his seasonal reappearance, and he was 2 lengths behind ALLAHO in the John Durkin, but he was held up at the rear of the field. And there wasn't a very strong pace on offer that day. He had to use plenty of petrol to try and get into a challenging position. And he was only beaten 2 lengths. And I just thought that was quite an eye-catching run. There was a bit more to come from him. They then sent him over 3 miles the next twice, behind Galopin and Conflated both times at Leopardstown in the Savills and the Irish Gold Cup. And again, he's had sort of steadily run races. He hasn't really benefited from his racing position. He looks to be not held up as such, but he looks a good pace to aim at. And I don't quite think he gets the 3 miles. Going all the way back to his Albert Bartlett run behind Monkfish, I didn't think he quite saw out the 3 miles, but he came there in that race, swinging around the bend, and like the jockey was pulling double, and he had to weave his way through. And once he got the gap and he made his effort, it just sort of petered out slowly towards the finish. I just don't think he stays 3 miles. So I think coming back in trip will really suit him. He's fairly unexposed, and he hasn't got a lot to find with a favourite. And I think at a double figure price each way, I think he'll go very, very well.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Andrew, I'm having to flip-flop back again. I forgot about Janidil in here. No, sorry, I'm going with Daryl for that forecast instead from ALLAHO, then with Janidil in second, hopefully. Do what they did in the John Durkin and finish 1-2 then in that order as well. But very difficult to see past ALLAHO for win purposes. We will move on then to the 3:30. This is the Stayers Hurdle. The grade 1 over 2 mile, 7 furlongs, 213 yards. This division has just been as confusing as you possibly like throughout the season. It's competitive, but it's competitive because each of the main protagonists manages to let themselves down at some point during the season. So for that reason, Flooring Porter is a horse I've been keen on this entire season to defend his crown. Hopefully he won't get what happened to him last time out in the Christmas Hurdle and caught flat-footed, because basically Classical Dream played the reverse card on him that Flooring Porter had managed to do to his rivals in the Christmas Hurdle the year prior. Stole a march on him, 5-length lead, only beaten 2 lengths then in the finish. So for me, Flooring Porter, Danny Mullins will be live to that factor of Classical Dream again. And I think, again, he's another horse that will probably defend his crown. So Daryl, can he defend his crown?
Yeah, probably. Do you know what? When all the entries were in here, before today, I thought there was just going to be like a real strong pace on in this race, and I thought that he was probably going to get taken on for the lead, and it was going to be a bit of a mess. But I don't see any other pace really in the race other than Flooring Porter and perhaps Classical Dream. And as long as they don't cut each other's throats, I think Flooring Porter's got a big chance. I gave a mention to Indefatigable at 50-1 earlier on this one of the other days on this when she was in the Mayor's Hurdle. I think if they came here, I think she'd have a fair chance. Strong pace over 3 miles. I think she needs 3 miles these days. And as Andrew mentioned about her excellent record at the festival, so I wouldn't put you off a couple of quid at 50-1 on her. Thyme Hill's rock solid. Absolutely rock solid, but is he quite good enough? I'm not entirely sure. Some people are perhaps saying, or I've heard on the circuit, that perhaps that French run left quite a bit of a mark on him, and he wasn't absolutely 100% straight at Ascot. If that's the case, then he's going to improve again. Christ, he'd go extremely close in this. It's just a shame he's now at 4-1. He's probably one of those horses you would have liked to have backed at 8-9-1 for for a solid each way play. Champ must have been something wrong with him last time.
Yeah.
Something wrong with me loving this horse.
I didn't want to say, but
yeah, there must be something. I don't know. I'm not convinced he's at his best at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. You know, he was in prime position to score at Cheltenham. I'm not entirely sure. While I'm touching on that Cheltenham race with Paisley Park, I know everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Champ gave Paisley Park 15 lengths or whatever, and he still couldn't beat him." Like, if you watch that race, they went very, very slowly early on, and Paisley Park was on the tail of that field by the third hurdle, and it didn't. Aidan Coleman didn't have to work hard to get there either. So I don't quite know if that performance was as good as it was made to look out on the day, but I'm not entirely sure that I would trust Champ bouncing back at Cheltenham. I mean, I'm going to have to back him. It's like his last run of his career at the festival, so call me cynical, what you like, I don't care, but I'm not going to miss out. So I'm going to back him. Whether I'm going to tell other people to back him is the difference, which I don't think I will. I think I would just side. I'm just going to side with Thyme Hill.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and just hope he gets a nice strong pace to suit. He can come there sort of tanking, be delivered because I do think he needs to be delivered at the right time. I don't think he does a whole lot in front. Delivered at the right time and make amends for his Albert Bartlett defeat, a race which he probably should have won.
Yeah, he really should have done, shouldn't he? That was just, you're just waiting for him to get his rewards for that.
Yeah.
So unlucky. And to finish fourth as well was just extra insult to injury as well. So advising Thyme Hill on this show, but you will also be backing Champ, which is a given then. Secretly. See, we won't tell anyone, don't worry. Andrew, how would you separate this lot?
I'd back Thyme Hill each way, 9-2 with 2-point makers at the time of recording. We're only going to get 3 places. Maybe on the day we'll get 4, but we'll probably be looking at 7-2. He's a monster when fresh. They ballsed it up by going to France for the Prix and wasted his fresh run. He didn't like the fixed brush style hurdles in France, didn't like the track allegedly. He's gone to Ascot. That probably came a little bit too soon, and he got chinned, but only narrowly by Champ. I mean, last year he missed Cheltenham, of course, and ended up winning at Aintree after a break. But of course, you look at his other 2 Cheltenham Festival runs, he's never been beaten by a British trained runner. He was 3rd in the bumper. I think it was 20-1. Was that in Fernie Hollow's year? And then, of course, he ran in that epic Albert Bartlett behind Monkfish, only beaten a length and a half, length and a quarter. So no British horse has ever beaten him at the Cheltenham Festival. I think Champ being 10, Paisley Park being 10. Paisley Park seems to have forgotten how to run 2 races alike. Although, if you're looking for a match bet, I'd take Champ to beat Paisley Park. I thought Paisley Park was flattered, coming late and wide, round the outside, on the better ground. But a strong wind that day as well. I think being prominent towards the inside was against Champ that day. I think you can forgive that defeat. But really, I'd be very surprised if Thyme Hill doesn't emerge best of the British trained runners. Will that be enough to beat Flooring Porter and Classical Dream? Possibly not. I mean, Classical Dream got chinned last time, but that came too soon. He's best when fresh. Very, very hard to beat when he's had a good layoff. Royal Kahala coming here complicates matters rather than the mare's race. I mean, the Irish Challenge is very strong, but I thought Thyme Hill still get 9-2, worth having an each way bet.
Yeah, so Thyme Hill then again for Andrew. Like you say, Classical Dream, considering his record fresh, that was bizarre why he went to Gore and then last time out. Willie Mullins thought that was going to be easy pickings for a grade 2 then, and didn't work out. So yeah, he may bounce back from that, but hopefully then it'll be another Irish horse to beat Thyme Hill home, and that will be Flooring Porter. The 4:10 then, this is the plate handicap chase. Grade 3 over 2 mile 4 furlongs and 127 yards. Yet again, wide open handicap. So, Andrew, I'll go back to you then first, please, for this race to solve it for us.
Yeah, tricky one. I mean, the Glancing Queen's entered in this. I'm really hoping she runs in the mare's chase, not this one. The recent betting suggested she might come here, but I don't want to back her against the boys. She seems best against her own sex. Celebre won well at Warwick last time, but this race traditionally has been a race for front runners. It's been very hard to come from too far off the pace. Okay, the shunter did so when at about 2 stone in hand or whatever it was last year. But I tend to fire a few arrows off with bigger price ones that are likely to be on the front end. I haven't is Wishing and Hoping still in this after the latest declaration stage? Just having a look through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Wishing and Hoping was the one who was only just beaten by Celebre at Warwick last time out. A veteran, but this is a race that's often gone to an older horse before. I think we've had 12-year-old winners in the recent past. And so, yeah, it would be a case of just having a look at the running styles. And Wishing and Hoping 33-1. Adramel, I was interested in if it came up soft or heavy. About a week ago, it was looking like he might get his ground. But now it's looking less likely. He's about 33-1, but yeah, I think at the moment, Wishing and Hoping to get into a good rhythm on the front end. He's a 12-year-old, but he's only had, I think, 22 runs under rules, and he did seem to improve for the drop back to 2.5 miles last time out. They've been running him over 3 most of his runs for his current trainer, but when he's with Alan King, he had plenty of form over this sort of trip. So I think he can cause a bit of an upset here, and his running style is certainly better suited to this race than that of the favourite Celebre.
Yeah. So Andrew going for a big play then to cause an upset, but I'm happy you gave Adramel a bit of a shout then, because I was waiting to see if he was declared for Saturday's racing or not, and where rather than going to Sandown or to go to Cheltenham or to do the both. But as you say, I'm just slightly concerned about the forecast now for him. It may not be soft enough. Daryl, your thoughts on the race?
Yeah, I really like Celebre. I think he's got loads in hand. I think you're being a bit modest about that. The narrow defeat for Wishing and Hoping last time. I think that was a snugger win, as you'll see in your lifetime. And at Warwick, Warwick, it was very, very difficult all season to come from the rear of the field, and he did it he was effortless. I loved the turn of foot. He's not your typical 10-year-old either. He's very, very lightly raced from France. This has been the target by Philip Hobbs since he had him. He's actually got bumper form if you go back long enough ago at Wincanton with Sam Brown. Just narrowly touched off by Sam Brown. That's completely irrelevant, really, but I just thought I'd mention it.
And Layla in second.
Yeah. I think this is a very smart horse. They've been messing around with his handicap. Well, not messing around with his handicap mark, but they've chucked him over hurdles to make light of it, and then gone over fences. He's so unexposed, really. I think he's got a good bit in hand. So I think he'll go very, very close. The other one, just at a big, big price, is Stolen Silver. Yes. This is a bit of a forgotten horse, really. This horse ran headed to Geet within a neck back in November at Cheltenham, off a mark of 140 over 2 miles. He's been sent into a Grade 1 next time, beaten 23 lengths by Edwardstone at Sandown. And then he ran at Wincanton, and it was just dire conditions. It was a day when it was absolutely hammering down all day. The ground conditions were just bog-like. It was just never going to suit him. He was a big drifter on the day. And I think coming back to spring ground, coming back to Cheltenham and going up to 2.5 miles, which is the trip for me he's been crying out for, I think he could easily have a bit in hand going back to his form with the likes of Eldorado Allen last year. So I think he's a big price at 25-1, a bit of a forgotten horse, especially given you look at that Editor Geet form and think Editor Geet was running off a mark of 140. He's a 153 rated now. So I think he's got a big chance at 25-1 if he stays in the race.
Yeah, I'd see 33s F Stolen Silver even. So big price then for him, but also keen on Celebre as well, in the hope that he still has more mileage even then as a 10-year-old, but still lightly raced, as you say, then for his age. The 450, this is the Mares Novices Hurdle Grade 2 contest over 2 miles, 179 yards, where Brandy Love heads the betting as the 9-4 favourite. So, Daryl, I will head back to you, please, for this. We know Brandy Love, that she probably ran unbelievably, considering how violently she was jumping out to her left last time out then at Fairyhouse. So do you think going this way around will be enough to see her win?
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's been well overlooked on that performance. I think there's too many people going around saying, it was violently left. There must have been something wrong with her. Now, if you go back and watch her Fairyhouse run in a bumper on her debut performance, whatever reason, she hung left that day at Fairyhouse as well. She was hanging. Patrick Mullins trying to keep hold of her. and straighten her up. So it's the second time it's happened at Ferryhouse. She hasn't done it anywhere else, and she and she didn't do it at Naas the time before when winning by 10 lengths. I think she's like the fact that she did that and lost all of that ground and still got to within 3.5 lengths of ALLAHO Devassi just says she's got a massive engine. For me, I think she's been well overlooked in this race now. She's drifted out in the market to like 10 to 3 because people are
100 to 30.
130 because people are backing Dino Blue, the talking horse of the preview circuit. I think that, oh my God, I think Brandy loves by far the best horse in this race. Obviously, we don't know what Dino Blue is quite capable of yet, but I do think it is risky backing a horse off the back of one run in a race like this. And for all Brandy's quirks, I think she's probably going to have a bit of a soft lead on the front end. She's continuously turning left, so she's jumping next to the wing of the fence this time. And the only time you're really going to have to worry her is down at the last. But I'm hoping she's had the race sewn up by then.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, the race then in safekeeping, but Dino Blue, say, has been challenging her then for favouritism, probably because of the preview circuits as much as anything else. Andrew, do you like Brandy Love, or are you betting against?
No, I don't want to take 130 about a horse who's been beaten as favourite both times she's gone outside of novice company. She's lightly raced. She could be improving. I think she needs to improve to win, and the price doesn't excite me. But best of luck to Daryl if he's if he's going to support her. I'm going to throw a few quid at Nina the Terrier each way at a big price for Alan King. She's had 3 runs over hurdles at this 2-mile trip. First, falling, or went in with every chance. She's rated 133. Alan King had the Glancing Queen, who did best of the British in this race last year, finishing 5th. She was rated 131. He has gone 75 runners over hurdles at the Cheltenham Festival, Alan King, since Medina's won the Coral Cup in 2013. But his mares often go extremely well, and the Glancing Queen, of course, she ran well in 2 bumpers, and as well as that. As well as in this race last year. But I think Nina the Terrier, under a patient ride, hopefully can just sneak into the first sort of 3 or 4. So in terms of backing something each way or without the favourite, or if there's a best of British market, which I really wish there was, it'd make life a lot easier for some of my picks. And
I was going to say, you're being very patriotic, Andrew. I appreciate that.
We get it with the US Open golf, don't we? You can back the best South African, the best English player, the best Australian. So I think if you're worried about the veterinary procedures of a lot of the Irish trainers and all these 20-length winning performances from the front that have come completely out of the blue, then maybe have a British horses only market could be the way to go.
Thanks for chucking that fuel on that fire, Andrew. We appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, but how sad is it though if we really are in Cheltenham looking for best of British markets? That really is quite something. But still, we may turn it around one day. We may. But Nina the Terrier, 33 to 1, big price then each way for Andrew in the 450 in the Mayor's Novices hurdle. Our final race then from day 3 is the 550. This is the Muir Challenge Cup Amateur Jockeys Handicap Chase over 3 Mile 2. Yet again, open look to it. Andrew, back to you.
Yeah, I used to love this race, particularly when it's a 3-day festival. It was run on the same day as the Ultima, and those 2 3-mile handicap chases. You can have some each way doubles in. It's not quite the same race nowadays. It used to go to an honest plodder, a horse who pretty much got round in every single chase start, not winning very often, but often getting in the frame, finishing 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. The nature of it's changed recently. You're getting the younger horses, the horses with less chase experience, the lightly raced Irish horses, like Mount Ida last year, who jumped out to the right, got well behind, and still managed to win. And again, you look at Gordon Elliott's record recently, including Mount Ida, who was running under the Denise Foster banner last year, and you're drawn to the likes of Frontal Assault, who's fortunately scraped it off 145 to get in this race. If I was the handicapper, I'd have taken the mick and just given him 146 just to wait for the phone call from Mr. O'Leary. But I thought Frontal Assault is a kind of horse I would immediately dismiss in this race 10 years ago, but nowadays looks like he's got the ideal profile, particularly with who he's trained by. So I need to do more work on this closer to the time. I'll no doubt find a few to fire fire arrows at big prices. Chambard, who I mentioned for the Ultima, looks like he's going to get into this race. I mean, he ran an incredible race when he won Exeter a few runs back, coming from out of the clouds. He should have won at Ludlow, but again, Lucy Turner left it too late. And then last time out, it was only a 3-run race at Huntingdon, but he wasn't favourite. And he raced closer to the pace than ideal. And he was always laughing at the Paul Nicholls trained favourite in that race. So, Chambard is sort of now pretty much certain to get in this race, 25 to 1. You know, I know he's probably going to end up, sort of finishing 3rd or 4th at best, given the strength of the Irish Challenge. But I'll make him the each-way pick ahead of Frontal Assault.
Okay, then, so each-way pick for Chambard, who's looking likely to get in now, but with Frontal Assault as your current most likely winner then for the Kim Muir. Daryl?
Yeah, I like 3. I like 3 now that my main hope for this has come out today. The 2 JP runners, Schoolboy Hours for Noel Mead and Champagne Platinum for Edna Bolger, and Mr. Coffey, who did extremely well at Sandown, chasing home the home press after absolutely banking a fence. He did extremely well. This horse has just been crying the Galopin trip for so long. I know this is quite a big move up in trip, but I think there's improvement to come from him after what he's shown during his career, and a mark of 137 is well within reach for him. I should just mention that jockey bookings will be interesting for this race. Obviously, keep an eye out for those when they come out. I think Patrick Mullins is already booked on Mr. Fog Patches. Champagne Platinum beaten 3 lengths by Death Duty last time, who seems to be this certainty for the Ultima, which he's not. I don't think he wants heavy ground, so I thought that was quite an encouraging performance to see him running over 3 miles 4 there on heavy ground and staying on, sticking to the task. This was a useful horse once, or was touted to be a very useful horse once. It's off a mark of 144. He finished 5th in the Pertemps last year behind Miss Milner. I think he's just starting to come into himself now. And I love the way he ran down Ain't That a Shame at Navan. I just think he's a real stayer. And I think he's got a great chance. So the 3 of them, obviously we've got final decks to come out before this. I'll try not to back all 3, but you know.
Can I just weigh in with one more that I forgot about? One more Fleury for Ian Williams, who looks to be a real spring horse. Won 4 times in sort of March, April time last year, and looks to have been brought along with the spring festivals in mind. I think it's 40 to 1 for this, still in the Ultima, 50 to 1 for that race.
Yeah, so one more Fleury then at 33 to 1 as well for Andrew. So we're all going big plays. And Daryl, I was really happy when Mr. Coffey was one of your 3 then, because when I was looking through this race, and I basically, by default, I sort of landed on Mr. Coffey. Straight away, I hated myself because this horse...
Yeah, glutton for punishment as well, are you?
Oh, please. What's he been overturned his favourite 5 times in his career? But I totally agree. I think he wants to step up in trip. He has an ideal mark for this race. He might be ridden too far forwards. That's a slight concern for me, but he just brings such a consistent run of form in defeat into this race. But nonetheless, because of that, I still think he's very fairly handicapped. So if you can get the each way price about him, sure, he may find one horse too good yet again, but I thought that he was a pretty fair bet, really, in the Kim Muir. So that wraps up day 3 then. So I just need to get your nap. So, Andrew, your nap of day 3, please.
Oh, crikey, Kate. Go to Daryl first, please. Come back to me.
Daryl.
Yeah, it's JP Thursday. Sire de Berlais is the nap.
Yes, to be fair, I probably could have called that, actually. I like that nap a lot for you then. My nap is going to be Galopin des Champs in the Turners. Team Galopin, or Team Des now, as Andrew subbed it, over Team Bob. So he is going to be my nap then. Andrew, have you come up with one yet?
Yeah, I'll go Thyme here. Although I've bet him each way. He is still the each way price 9 to 2.
Yes, very good. And then Daryl, outsider.
I like the chance of Janidil in the Ryanair.
Yeah. I know, I really like the angle.
Like, I know. The one thing I keep thinking is that ALLAHO is on the Thursday. You think of the Accas running onto ALLAHO. It could be a bit of an upset. And, you should never run scared of one horse at the top of the market. Anything can happen, can't it? So, yeah, I think Janidil's got a good each way chance.
Yeah, definitely. I like that one a lot. Andrew, outsider of the day.
I'll go for Nina the Terrier for Alan King in the 2 mile 1 mares race.
nicely priced outsider then, and mine is not quite that price, but Mr. Coffey, why not? I'll go for him then at an each way price in the final race there in the Muir. So that is everything from day 3. Thanks again to the lads for all of their hard work. Stay tuned for our last day then that we have coming up next, day 4. Stay tuned for that.